If there's a win, then go get it.
What I call winning. If your goal is to be a better mother, if your goal is to get promoted.
If there's a life, you've got to live it.
So don't hide your superpower. Don't drop your mic. Don't lower your voice. Don't hide who you are.
If there's prosperity, I want you to have it.
Then what we aspire to become is really inevitable and not impossible.
And if there is wisdom, I pray you receive it.
And so I think the companies did not do a SWOT analysis of what could go wrong or what must be true in order for them to hire 50 or
IoT or all of the technologies that happen that we try to tighten up and shore up. But there's other factors that happen in the anatomy of a breach, and that is the human factor. We have that same mindset about it's just a matter of time, it's not impossible, it's inevitable, then that will guide our walk, and we will walk boldly.
Always find a way to win.
When you have this growth mindset, you say, you know what, I've won before, I can win again. I have so much to offer, I have so much to gain. I am not done. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you heard from them. We gotta go. We gotta win. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Winner's Circle. So delighted to see you guys here. My name is Daphne Jones, and I still enjoy seeing those recaps of different talks that I have been able to do. And I actually did a talk at Generation W, which was one of those clips that were there with my guests today. But I'm a former Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer. I currently serve on public boards. I'm an author of this book, Win When They Say You Won't. And I'm now the host of the Winner's Circle Live, which is a monthly podcast. In my book, as you guys may have read it by now, I share other people's stories and their triumphs and their challenges, because I believe that by ourselves, we know a little, but together, when we tap into what other people know, what other people have done, what other people are doing, I believe that we will learn everything. We can know everything. These live broadcasts are here to where I seek to bring you just great people who build businesses, who leave legacies, who are inspiring hearts, who are challenging the status quo. They are enabling innovation, and they are showing people that what we once thought was impossible is really inevitable. It is very, very possible. What they all have in common, though, is that they know that winning begins in the mind. And they have discovered that when you change your mind, you'll change your behaviors, and then you will change your outcomes. They always find a way to win. So this series of monthly podcasts is going to be curated to bring you topics that are relevant to us, from everything from leadership to AI to women to DEI, whatever the topics are that are important to you for you to be able to win. That's what we're going to be covering. And so hopefully will help us to learn more than we currently know and to do more than we currently are. First, let me do a couple of ground rules. Number one, we have a guest speaker. Her name is Donna. So you can do hashtag Ask Donna if you would like to ask any questions or do a chat. The time is going to go really, really fast, and we will take questions until about 20 minutes to 1. It's now 12 o'clock or 12:03, and we are going to go until about 12:40 with questions, and I encourage you to bring them in. And then I encourage you guys to subscribe to the Winner's Circle Perspective. That's my video series. So I encourage you all to do that. But without any further ado, I want to introduce my friend, Donna Orender. She is a respected corporate leader. She's an innovator. She is a change maker. She is strategic. She's operational. She's entrepreneurial. And I just don't know how one person can embody all that, especially one person who's as young as she is. She is the CEO of Orender Unlimited. She is the commissioner, we're going to talk about this, commissioner of the newly formed women's basketball league called the Upshot League. And that's headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida. She's been on boards and serves on audit committees. She's been the chair of an audit committee. She has been on the nomination and compensation committee. She has been on the committee chair in the global media and digital committees. She has done business leadership. Adam Silver picked on her and said, can you come and lead the WNBA, which she actually happily did as commissioner for 6 years of the WNBA. Prior to that, I think she was a point guard, and she played 3 years in the Women's Basketball League. And so she not just does it, you know, she also knows how to lead it, right? She has spent time, 17 years, which is Professional Golf Association, as executive in the office of the commissioner. She's an entrepreneur.
It's not off, it's on.
She has founded Generation W. She's founded successful production companies, producing films and media. There's just so much that is about this lady. She's been Newsweek's 100 most influential women in sports, top 10 most powerful women in sports. And she has, because of her leadership in the WNBA, 20% growth in sponsorship during a recession, 25% growth in television viewership, and 3-digit % growth in the digital viewership of this. She had positive cash flow for 5 years in a row after 8 years of declining cash flow. She's done it all. She's doing it all. And we want to learn from Donna. So without further ado, let me introduce and stop embarrassing her anymore, Donna Orender. Hello, Donna. Are you there? You okay?
I can't hear her.
Oh, you can't hear.
Can you hear? You can hear me?
Yes.
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The audio dropped out after your opening.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, Sean, what can we do? Hang on, guys. Hang on, everyone. Let's see. Manage layouts. Can you hear me at all, Donna, now? Can you hear me? No?
Nothing. Zero.
Okay. That's interesting. Rashawn, are you there?
Audio is up. Microphone's
Yes,
on.
I'm
There you
here.
go. All
Okay,
right. Now I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Who is that? I can hear whoever said yes.
That's me.
she
That's
hears
Rashawn.
Rashawn, but not me.
Okay, I cannot hear Daphne Rashawn.
Okay. Daphne.
Can you hear me,
But she
Rashawn?
looks fabulous.
Yes,
And
I
know
can hear
everything
you.
That was amazing. But
I can hear you well, Daphne. Let me okay. And you can hear me, Donna, right?
I can now. Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, Daphne, can you say something?
Okay, welcome to the Winner's Circle. And we
And
have
I'm glad to be welcomed. I was in the dark a little bit or whatever. So sorry about that.
well, thank you. And we don't quit. We just keep on working at it. Well, welcome, Donna. So glad to have you. I've read everything about your bio. They know everything, almost everything.
That's scary. That is scary.
So we're going to just start with some questions. And guys, don't forget, the next 30 minutes, let's ask Donna anything. She's just a great leader and a great motivation. And there's a lot we're going to learn. So Donna, we're going to go back in time a little bit where you played WBL. I guess that was Women's Basketball League, the precursor to the WNBA, right?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Okay. So, well, before the title, were you a shooting guard? Were you a point guard?
I was a shooting guard. Yes.
Okay, so you did points. You made baskets.
I did points. Yes, I did. But I also passed. I just want to say, any of my teammates ever watch this, I did pass to them. Okay.
You did baskets. Well, before the titles and all the accolades that you've got, Newsweek and the top this, the top that, you were just a kid who loved the game.
I did.
And
I love to play. That is true.
Love to play. Can you take us back to a moment on the court when you were playing the ball, or maybe it was after basketball, when you said, you know what? My life can really be bigger than this. I have bigger aspirations than going up and down the court, which is not chump change, by the way. But did you have anything bigger in your mind at some point?
It's funny when you say bigger. somehow that makes me feel a little too self-focused, right? I can do bigger. I always think I could do more. And I always knew that I wanted to make a difference. To me, that was where my focus was. How can I be a better contributor? How can I leave something better off than when I got there? I never thought of it like as bigger. I qualified it as making impact.
Okay. So when was that? When was it when you were playing ball, or was it at some other point?
I actually remember being in a little session in college. I forgot who it was. It was a group of people. And the professor said, like, you know, what do you want to do in the world kind of thing? And I remember saying, I want to make a difference. And I remember, and I think it was a woman, I remember her belittling me, like, oh, isn't that sweet? Isn't that nice? And I was like, wow. And I don't know why. I always remembered that moment. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You could have said whatever you want, but my whole life, as a young female athlete, as a girl who wanted to play, when the world told her they didn't want her to play, it was always about looking forward and perseverance. It was always about the Daphne Jones philosophy of, you know, we're going to win. And winning this doesn't necessarily, and I'm a team sport player, so winning means we all win. And I stayed focused. I didn't ever get like sidetracked or deterred.
Okay. Got it. Well, that's good. And thank you that your life can be more, because when you do things for other people, it kind of comes back to you as well. So it wasn't about you being better, or bigger. It was about how can you do more for others.
And but let me just say this, in sport, isn't that what the best teams do?
Yes.
Right? The best teams are about sacrificing for a greater goal.
That's right.
And yet there's so much pressure in this world to tell us we have to have the best stats. You know, we get rewarded for the best this or the best that. And you know, there's always this thing that says, make sure you watch out for you, which I get. So when you see those kind of things come together, it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah. They say there's no I in team, right? And you got to make sure you're doing it for the team. I remember that I have felt like an outsider. You know, you have been the only woman for some period of time doing things that are typically in the male-dominated area. But many people feel like outsiders, like they don't quite fit where they are. Did you ever feel like you didn't fit early on? And how did you take that and say, I'm not going to use it to doubt myself and hold myself back. I'm going to use that as a catalyst or as fuel to go forward. How did you think about that, so we can think?
So interesting. It's so interesting. I actually have to tell you, I think about that every day now. It's really a big part of my work, this idea of being othered, feeling like we're othered. And doing the work that I'm doing with Generation W for so long, being a female athlete in a time when that wasn't so popular. You know, I was an oddball girl who wanted to do things that people didn't expect girls to do. I think it's a human condition that we all feel othered in some way.
Right.
And recognizing that and owning that I think is such an important thing in terms of just overall, not only individual growth, but collective growth as a community and a society, right? You know, it's about being a dominant or not a dominant, right? So many of us are not, but even those who are filled with self-doubt about, like, I don't measure up. And I always wonder, like, where does that come from? Who is talking to us to telling this is what the standard is? And how do we internalize that as young people, like little people, as, you know, a little older than little people, and even now as mature adults? We're all still getting these messages of we're not enough. And I just gotta, you know, listen, I believe in self-talk.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk to myself, who is, right?
Yeah, talk yourself out of being another, because you have a gift that nobody but Donna Orender has, nobody but Daphne Jones has. So I am other. I'm not you, you're not me, but I have something to contribute anyway. I believe that we were told this when we were little girls. You know, little girls can't be astronauts, little girls can't be basketball players. And you grow, that seed is planted in you, and then it gets watered every day, and sunshine is on it every day. Then we grow up with imposter syndrome. I think it starts from a young age, and it gets perpetuated.
Yeah, but we can change that. We can evolve that, right? And it's not so much we hear, it's what we collectively hear, right? So my sons grew up in a house where their mother was very involved in sports. They knew she was an athlete. And when they got to college, they supported all the women's teams. They were a collective at their colleges, like Jacob at Cal. All the teams support each other. So the male athletes were supporting the female athletes. And then they take that kind of vision, that kind of experience into the next phases of their lives, right? And so that's what's so important, is that boys and girls are getting messages of equity, right? And the ability to share and contribute in ways that we would perhaps heard that weren't so acceptable. But but that definition that they're expanding now, it's pretty amazing, right? And not as much as they should, but they are.
They are absolutely. And somebody wrote here, Donna, I'm amazed at reading your bio and learning more about you. With all of your accolades, is there a label that people call you that feels really heavy for you to carry? And how do you stay connected to the Donna who was the Donna before all these titles?
Well, all right, so first of all, I am not focused on titles at all. I will say that. And I think people who really know me, they just always say, like, you're just you. You're you. And that's always the case. I think if there's anything, people say, oh, I read your bio and I'm so impressed with everything you've done. And I'm like, okay, that's really nice. Like, it's not that I'm not impressed. I don't to be falsely humble, but I'm just like, I've done these things. It's fantastic. I'm going to do more things because it's fantastic, because I'm motivated from that young girl who said, even in college and before, I just want to make a difference. Yeah. So there's a purity of purpose, I feel like. There's a purity in the passion. There's this kind of idea of still being a teammate in the world. I believe that life is a team sport. It can be hard. You know, teammates can be hard. They can be challenging. It's not like a free ride. But I feel like the ride is so worth it. Yes. The journey is so worth it. And the impact is so worth it. And so therefore I just keep, I keep chugging ahead.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes we want people that we can say, well, she did it, I can do it. I read her life. I want to do that. And so it's just the role modeling that I think you are just really great at. Let's talk about courageous leadership.
Okay.
At the PGA Tour and then the WNBA, you walked into rooms, where you were the only one. Okay. And you might have been the only person, and I believe this very strongly, that our job is to challenge the status quo. What is good enough is not good enough for long. Can you describe a time when you made a decision and you had to find courage to stand on that decision? It might have been in NBA, might have been in PGA, might have been in Generation W, might have been in the Upshot League that you're starting up now. Give us a decision where you stood alone and you stood behind that decision.
Well, I think we actually make those decisions every single day. There's little moments of testing your courage, right? But I would say one of the momentous decisions I made in my life is leaving a very cushy, at that point, very safe job, working as a very senior executive at the PGA Tour, and making a decision to go work as a leader in women's sports. And I would tell you that everyone thought I was crazy. Like, why would you do that? You just completed $1 billion negotiation. Tiger Woods was coming on the scene. Golf was really moving up. You're at the top of the pyramid. Why would you do that? And
great question.
It was a good question. And I came back with, one, there's not very many of these jobs in the world. And two, I felt it was my turn to pay it forward. So many people in the world have been good to me. They've shared their knowledge with me, right? They put their arms around me. They've helped me learn my way and become great partners in the business that I was in, but also in life as good friends. And I knew that how important women's sports were to me in my development, how I saw the world, how I was able to stand in an environment where it was me and 31 men. And I felt like that was something I needed to pay forward. And I always loved the game of basketball. That was my muse. It still is. And so I stood with that. And it was the hardest of times and it was the best of times.
Yeah. And that was when you left the PGA to go to do the
WNBA. Yeah.
Adam Silver called you and said, hey, Donna, we need you. And then you turned the WNBA around with the help of your peers and teams and all that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's something about courageous leadership and standing on principle of what you know is really right for you and it's going to be right for other people. It's not about your selfishness, it's about your giving to the game, giving to the people.
Yeah, and I feel that way too. Like we have Generation Wow. And, we've touched over 15,000 teen girls. This year we have 770 girls in our program in our school district, another 500 in another school district. And, standing up for them, with them, because they're pretty mighty, right?
Yeah.
They're inspiring, they're motivated, they see themselves in the world in strong ways. And this whole idea of underserved, what does underserved really mean? Challenging that notion of who gets to participate and how is something I'm really focused on, because I think in many different ways, those who are underserved could be the richest in who they are, and those who are what we traditionally think is served, perhaps they come from a better funded zip code, they can be the poorest in some ways. And so how do you take this kind of language that we use to depict who we are and kind of morph it into something that allows us to come together in a way that allows us to all be better together?
Right.
And, the work that is being done by our Generation W, our Generation WOW team, is so motivating. At this stage of my life, it is so fulfilling. It's so gratifying, right? To know that we're helping young girls and the young girl in all of us, because I don't think we ever lose that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If somebody wants to learn more about Generation W or Generation WOW, can you just say what the website
Sure, be happy. It's GenW now.com.
GenWnow.com.
Yeah,
Okay. You all heard it. She's impacting thousands of young girls. And I love the fact that, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And depends on how you look at life. It's not only about the riches and the glamour, it's also about how you've served other people. And I think that's really incredible. So when you think about what you did with the WNBA and you led during tough economic times through a recession, for God's sake, it wasn't only highlight reels and it wasn't a bunch of positive press releases. Were you ever overwhelmed? And what did you do, if so, to stay in balance? Because people are working these jobs every day, and we're either losing market share, our gross margins are dying, we're not doing so well with supply chain. There's issues globally, et cetera. How do you stay in balance? How did you?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, it was incredibly challenging. The final gift of running the WNBA was then we had the Great Recession.
Yes, exactly.
Which actually in some ways worked in our favor because every other sport was outpriced in the market. And we were kind of where Main Street, we were like in the center of town with great pricing and we could focus on families. I always felt that, and in addition, every day they would tell us we were going out of business. It was an internal conversation. It was an external conversation. It was in the press. We were voted like which league is going to go out of business first. And I remember when they put us, and I literally called up the head of the publication and I started yelling at him like, seriously, do you want us to go? Like, how do you think this helps anybody? And ironically, it wasn't us, and it's still obviously not us. We're thriving, right? We are absolutely exploding, and it just took a lot more time. But at that time, I actually used to think of the three monkeys, and I used to see myself. I just closed my office door, like put my hands over my ears. I will hear no evil, right? I will see no evil. I will speak no evil. I am just committed. I have a mission to accomplish here. And I'm gonna do everything I can with the people around me who are equally committed. There were so many people equally committed, not at the scale of maybe the NBA would have liked or the owners at the time. And I got that there was a lot of money invested that wasn't being returned right away. But if you look at these kinds of businesses, okay. If you looked at the culture and the society we're in, okay, it was going to take time to kind of warm and ripen, and look where we are now. And right. I am really proud, Daphne, that I could be part of that cycle of growth that made sure that this moment could happen.
Wow. And I think so it's courage, tenacity, faith. You had faith in what you were all about, and it didn't turn around right away, but it turned around, and that's incredible and courageous.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We did. Wait, by the way, when I was there, when I left, every single negative was positive, right?
Positive.
All of our numbers moved in the right direction. I don't. You know, the question is, was it enough? Was it enough to keep it going? And other people came along and we kept it going, and the NBA believed, and Adam Silver believed, and they invested more, and they hung around, and you know what? Here we are. I think it's going to be, wow, is it year 30? Is that possible? It could be almost year 30.
30 years.
Yeah. But it's funny because you measure up the metrics like we would always do that. Well, where was the NBA in year 25? And what were they doing? Like, what tickets were they selling? And obviously, these businesses are growing in a different business context, right? The contextual economics of the time, the social economics of the time, they're all different. But on the other hand, not that different, right? You had this male basketball league coming out of nowhere. What did they look like? What was the world? How did they feel about the world? What was happening in television? I mean, all these kind of things, right? It's challenging. And so, WNBA stacking up pretty well.
The numbers are the numbers. Things, there are more tools. There's more games, things that you will do on the court that are different. There's more innovation. So there's good things that happen, but there's also the challenges that happen. And it's all about the numbers. But it's also about helping people understand the power of women. I really believe that you helped people to understand that women are not just sitting on the sidelines. We also have talent, we have power, we have agility, etc. So I think you help people understand more about women in another context than they were accustomed to.
Yeah, it's definitely transferable. All of it is transferable, right? So that's why what's happening today is fantastic.
Do you have a mentor or a coach? Do things ever go sideways for you when you're scared something might not work? You're starting your own league, for God's sake, the Upshot League. I mean,
we are.
Two small words, big words, but look at that. So there's branding and marketing and recruiting, and who do you call? Who does Donna Orender go to, or what type of person? You don't have to say their name. What kind of person do you go to? Is it yourself? Is it the Bible? Is it your priest? Is it your husband?
No, I didn't come up with a mentor. I felt very much alone. There's this a guy named Todd Lewicki, really greatly known in the industry, who was a great friend. We worked together. He moved on. We always stayed in touch. Understood the industry. Understood who I was. It was always really supportive. And at a time at the WNBA when I really needed help, I flew out to see him.
Wow.
And then there was a fantastic woman who's still one of my dearest friends to this day. She was the woman in media and business at the time. She knew nothing about sports, but she is one of the greatest humans, and that's Geraldine Laybourne. And she was the one who created Nickelodeon, and then she partnered with Oprah for Oxygen, and she was the president of the Disney Channel. And she was always there to encourage me. She said, if you need me, I'll be there. And I always encourage anyone to say, it's one of the most powerful things you can say to somebody. When I wanted to write the book, she said, if you're going to write something, make it different. So when we did Wowsdom, the Girl's Guide to the Positive and the Possible, it is different. It's an interactive, engaging book. We got an artist who painted every single page. And I have to tell you, in 2018, it came out. I went to our vision board party with 300 of our Wow girls just 2 weeks ago, and two girls came up to me and said, I'm reading the book and I love it. And nobody told them to do it. They just did it. Right? They just did it. I'm like, so people like that. And listen, I think I have a group of really cool people who've been around a long time. I think this longevity thing is great, not to preclude anyone who comes new into your life, who are always kind of there to be a backup. Although I will tell you, because I think probably people, there are times you feel lonely. Like I'm in my car and I'm like, who can I really call now? Who can I really? And I think as women, we don't want to lay more stuff on another person, right? We just don't want to do that. And so sometimes I have to think, who can I call? And then I kind of think through it and I said, maybe nobody, I'll be okay.
Right. Because we sometimes, on the one hand, we're dealing with imposter syndrome. So we don't want other people to know that we might really be imposters. So we don't want to let them know the challenges that we have, because it might spill the beans that we really don't belong to be here or deserve to be here, which is not true, but it is a thing. But I'm also hearing you say that you don't have to have somebody in your field that knows exactly what you're doing. If they have wisdom, if they have
compassion,
integrity, you can use the right person to push you along. Doesn't have to be.
Correct. Yeah. And somebody else who knows you and your style and how you think and all those kind of things also helps. But it's funny, I've heard you bring up imposter syndrome. And I have to say, I do have like thoughts about that, because I hear it a lot. We talk about it a lot. And when I reflect on imposter syndrome, I'm like, I think we just got to give ourselves grace. Generally, everybody does things for the first time.
Yes.
There was somebody else who did it the first time before you did it the first time. And so therefore, if something you're doing something, I'm here to learn. I'm not an imposter. I'm here to learn something new, and that's okay. And in learning something new, I'm going to learn my space in that newness. And I don't know, for some reason, I just don't want to think that we don't think we're good enough, which we all do. We've talked about that. But I think this imposter thing is also about accepting the fact that if we don't, that being in a new space is okay.
Okay.
And that there's expectations of learning in a new space, and that's okay.
Yeah. When you're done learning, you're done. And you need to have intellectual curiosity. You need to know, how does this work? If you don't know how it works and you don't find out, then you're left in the dark. And who wants to be in the dark? And it's got to be okay to learn. I totally buy into that. And I hope all the senior women and men that will be listening to this kind of get that point. It is okay to learn. It's okay to be doing something. My husband and I were in Cape Town a couple of weeks ago, and we went to Tabletop Mountain. And to go there, you have to get in this cable car that goes up. And my husband said to me, Daphne, if you had told me that I was going to take this cable car up 4,000 feet, I wouldn't have done it. And I said, baby, when was the last time you did something for the first time? We have to be okay with knowing that we have to do something for the first time. And
correct. I think that's really wise. And not only not expect, but embrace it. With longer lives, right? We're around longer, and we're stuck in our ways. That I don't know if that's the best for our overall mental health and ability to really participate in the world.
Yeah. We're with Donna Orender. Please feel free to ask questions of Donna. We are going to be replaying this as well in the future, but just loving her. Let's get into relationships real quickly. With all the things that you do, and this is a personal question because I have struggled with this. Have you ever struggled with guilt about time, about your family, about taking care of Donna? And how have you learned to make peace with the fact that you're not superhuman? You're just Donna. You're human.
Yeah. I deal with that every day, I think.
Or have you learned that? You learned that you're not superhuman? Maybe you still.
Well, it's like I actually think I am superhuman, but not in a way of being crazy, but like I can get it done, right? You got to believe can get it done, and I can get it done. There are days where there's just more obstacles than you would like, and you're like, oh my gosh, and then you evaluate, is this worth it or not worth it? What's important? What's not important? What do I push? What do I don't push? And then how do I preserve myself in this process, because there's only so much of me. And I know that what I'm doing now is not forever at this pace, right? So there's different life cycles in everything you do. You can't have everything all the time. It's just not enough to do that. So it's constantly I guess it's that challenge of prioritizing.
Okay.
And then accepting the decisions around prioritization that you're going to make.
Yeah.
Because then you know that it is a conscious and present decision, as opposed to one that you're just kind of like, you're on the, I don't know why I thought about this at Disney, where you go down that mountain with the water in it. And you're just like, all right, this is where I am and I'm going with it, as opposed to actually, hiking a mountain saying, I'm going to take this way, I'll take this way, I'll rest this place. You know what I mean? All those kinds of things where you're much more intentional about something.
I think it's about knowing what your purpose is and ensuring that you are doing what you can do to go according to that purpose, so you don't have the regrets. So you're prioritizing, you're intentional about where you're going. You're just not like a cork in the waves that just go wherever the waves take you.
That's exactly true. I agree with you.
Even though life happens and sometimes you have to respond to life, but you feel like you are based on your priorities and you just
do. But also understand, life is hard. Life is hard. I have 2 sons now. I love them more than life. I do feel guilty about, even now, we're not spending more time with them. They're on their own. They're doing great. But we talk a lot about business together. And my husband and I, we love it. It's just great. And their frustrations, there's real frustrations. People are not nice. Right. It took me a long time to really accept that. Right? People cannot be nice. Yeah. Or people may not be truthful. Or a deal may not go the way you think it is, or right. There's something, all those kind of things. And, I've seen so much of that. I don't like it. I don't love it. And sometimes it still exasperates me. But when you're new to all of it, you can just see, how it can be so, it can be overwhelming for young people in their own way, right?
So, my mommy taught me to be this way, but nobody else is, and so how do I factor that into the equation of what I do next? And how I respond. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the WNBA and Upshot.
Yeah.
You poured years into the WNBA, and now you're launching a new women's league. Would love for you to tell us all about it. But my question about the Upshot League is, do you ever worry that the new league could dilute or cannibalize, is another way of saying it, the talent and attention, rather than strengthen the overall women's game? If it came.
I don't worry about that at all. I am focused on the fact that we are actually building the game. We are adding to the entire ecosphere of women's basketball. And the reason I know that is because when I was at the WNBA, it's only going to be in so many markets, right? There's only going to be in so many markets. And you're only going to have so many jobs. And right now, the WNBA went from 12 to 13. They'll go to 15. It's not enough, really, right now especially. And I think that communities, we're all about investing in communities. Our DNA is, we believe everyone deserves to up their shot. In order to up your shot, you got to participate. If you're an athlete, you want to be a professional athlete, you need to get a place to play where you'll get paid, right? We're creating 44 new jobs this year in a talent pool that is searching for places to be able to put these incredibly elite athletes. The numbers that support this are staggering. 20% of athletes between 2021 and 2024 that were drafted got jobs. Think about that.
20%.
That's in the league.
Low. Yeah. That sounds low. Right?
That's right. In the league. Now they can go to Europe and make money. They can go to China. They can go, the Middle East. But now we're giving them a place to play at home.
And there's a market that's receptive to them, is what you're saying.
Don't communities listen, there's 160 minor league baseball teams. I'm not saying we're minor league. There's 54 minor league hockey teams. I mean, there are male professional sports teams in cities across this country that are beloved. And shouldn't we have more of those women teams, especially basketball? Other than the WNBA, we're creating a new pathway. And I learned a lot when my son played overseas. He was a professional athlete overseas. And I looked at these countries and they have first division, second division, third division, fourth division. Some of them even have fifth division. And no matter what level your community had, they always were fighting to be better, but they loved those athletes. It gave them civic pride. And so why shouldn't we have that here in markets that are really substantial who would benefit from this? So I am so purposefully motivated about the mission of this work that I not only am I not worried, I am elevated in this work. And I know that, general managers and owners of WNBA teams have told me they need this. They need this for talent development, right? They need this for fan development.
Right.
We're the wind beneath their wings. We're doing great work.
When is this going to launch? When will the first game happen? When is the season going to be announced and all that stuff?
Season's announced. Opening day is May 15th. Jacksonville, I think, will be playing Charlotte Crown. Oh, I can even show you here. Here, these are our logos. I don't know if you. There's the Charlotte Crown.
Oh, okay.
There's the Jacksonville Waves.
Waves.
That's the Greensboro Groove. And that's the Savannah Steel.
So there's going to be 5 teams right now?
The first 4 teams.
4, okay.
We've announced Team 5 in Baltimore, and they'll play in 2027. There's another team that's playing in 2027. We'll announce them in February. We have 6 teams behind them. We will determine in March or April which of those teams will also play in 27 or not. And then we'll have either 2 to 4 more teams in 28 as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
I see.
Pretty exciting. And the athletes they're calling. They are calling. We have tryouts coming up. We'll have a showcase. It's just a really great thing. You can have a great life. You can fulfill your dreams of being a professional athlete. I had that dream. I didn't have that dream. A league popped up and I got to play.
Right.
And those were the highlights of my life, to know that every day I could get up and pursue this game at a professional level that I loved so much, and to play in front of fans and to meet interesting people across the country. It was fantastic. It really was.
I feel your energy. I really do, and the excitement. All right. So let's say it looks like women's sports are having a moment.
It's more than a moment, but yes.
More than a moment. It's not a movement, so I don't know what you want to call it, but we're in
Fuego. It's happening. Okay.
Play. Okay. But I don't know if investments or media deals are lagging. I think they're lagging behind men's leagues. Is there anything that you wish or that you will do with Upshot that you didn't do with, if you can share this? I'm not trying to get into your secrets.
No. So here's one of the biggest things that why women's sports are going, is because everyone's starting a fund. Everyone. Whether it's Serena's husband, who's been at the forefront, Alex Ohanian has been in the forefront. God bless him. I heard yesterday, did you hear about Mark Cuban's new fund? And in between that, you had Karen Nortman, who was, she started this whole investment strategy, and she successfully brought the, LA NWSL team, which she invested in at $3 million and sold for $250. I love Karen Nortman. I just think everywhere you go, this is an investment class that people are really interested in. That says a tremendous amount, because the biggest thing for me running the WNBA, there was no movement in asset value. I just started a league. We decided to start it at a very approachable, investable place.
Level. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you that we will, our asset value will rise exponentially over the next how many years. And that will be very gratifying. We will build a women's business that's sustainable and has a tremendous amount of growth. And then on top of that, working on our media deals, we're working on sponsorship deals. People, when you're something new, they want to see. Okay, we'll show you. I'm fine with that. But even today, just before we came on, I saw where Mercedes-Benz just committed $500 million, $50 million over 10 years to the WTA. I mean, that is a landmark deal, I just send it to my guys and say, hey, this is in our future as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. So let me get into resilience.
Yes.
If you were sitting one-on-one with the listener who's maybe listening to you now, who feels exhausted, underestimated, undervalued, on the verge of quitting, she's done. What would you say to her, not as Donna Orender, the executive, but as Donna, the person who has had to fight for your own beliefs many times? How do you encourage?
Like this is not a made up scenario. Like this happens a lot, right? This happens a lot.
Yes.
Because we all get to that place. So first it's like kind of acknowledging exhaustion, acknowledging frustration, acknowledging you want to quit, and then kind of peeling back the layers and say, okay, what is contributing to all of that? What's making you feel like that? Are these things in your control or out of your control? Where are you in terms of, your purpose? What do you really want to accomplish? Right? And how do you want to get there? And then how do you want to get there? And what's the price you're willing to pay to get there? And I think there's a question a lot about the different generations. It's so interesting to be in a workplace now. I have 5 generations working side by side.
Mm.
Right?
Wow.
I'm exhilarated by it. Honestly, I am uplifted by it. For me, it is so much fun. But we make it that way. We'll talk about. We have Mondays our culture day, and so our 23-year-olds are like, what's happening in culture? I mean, that's how I learned about Love Island. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to Love Island, but then I was in the know and I was feeling good. And it's where they had to learn about James Taylor. Like most of them never heard of James Taylor. Could you imagine?
No.
I can't even imagine. And what we share. And when we share, it's like, it's just fantastic. So anyway, going back to your question. So we like what, and then when, you take a calm down, you make a list and you just kind of say, okay, well, so where am I really at? So I maybe we call it the peeling back the onion strategy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're making it. It's a strategy. It's a series of questions. You ask yourself, what happened? How did I get here? What are my options? What is the pluses and minuses of each option? Which do I feel that I'm able to do more? So it's like systematically. It's almost like what a company does. We should.
Yeah, it's true.
We should take them strategically. Right?
Yeah, but I like the image of the onion because the onion has that outside crinkly paper, right? And you're saying, okay, I want to take off the crinkly paper. I want that shiny bulb, right? That's almost iridescent and soft. And yes, it makes you cry.
That's right. Yes,
it does make you cry. But then when you do it and you kind of cut into it even more and more and more, right? You get a sense of where you are. And I think sometimes we just need help to get there. Sometimes we just sometimes we just gotta cry to get there, and it's okay. It's all okay.
It's okay to understand the moment that you're in and cry. But I like to always say at the end of the day, you always got to find a way to win. You never quit, you never give up, but you find a way to peel those onion layers over and get through it. You got to get through it. You can't just stop and put your head in the sand and hope it goes away. You have to
totally agree. But to get through it, you have many directions you can take, right? There's not just one answer. There's so many ways to win, Daphne. That's why I love your work. That's why I loved your book, because there's so many ways to win, and you help us see that. And I think that's so valuable.
That's great. Well, what I want to do is a couple of lightning rounds with you. I want to ask you some questions that I hope you can answer. If you had an opportunity, Donna, to have dinner with someone, a historic figure, they could be dead or alive, but I think it's fun if they're dead. But who would it be? Who would you have dinner with, and why?
Well, it's interesting. It's probably 2 people. I think about this often, and I don't know who I normally say, but I can feel this as strongly as I possibly can, and I hope it doesn't create an uproar if anyone sees it. But I'm going to put 2 people together. I'm going to put Moses and Jesus Christ together. And the reason is because so much of what we live today came from this fount of spirituality and faith and religion. And I would love to have been there or talk to them, right? People wear these bracelets. What would Jesus do? Well, why don't we ask him? Right? Why don't we ask him, right? And did Moses throw down those tablets? Did you really do that? Right? But, like all those kinds of things. And I just think it is incredible how pervasive that value set, those teachings, those learnings are foundationally part of the Judeo-Christian world. And I would love to be able to ask some questions.
Wow, with them together, which would be very interesting. Because Moses.
Well, remember Moses, Moses was,
he was with God,
and created the Jewish people, and then Jesus came from the Jewish people, right? He didn't create Christianity, right? He was a Jew that espoused, a philosophy of life that some found threatening. Imagine that, right? That happens. And so I just thought, like, oh, you know what? If you're gonna give me that chance, I'm gonna take it all.
Right. I've had somebody say that they would love to be with Jesus and Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
It was very similar. He was nonviolent social change, and so was Jesus. And so it's like, but one was way back then, and one was more recent. So how did they? I like
that. I like that.
Hatred. All the hatred that's going on, how did they both deal with that? And how did it make them feel? So,
And
okay.
they did. And they both, and by the way, and they did. Like, we don't, like, they did. They really did.
What do you do to unplug? I mean, besides, I
Me?
see you in your office right there.
This is my home office. This is see my little heart. I have hearts around. And what do I do to unplug? I love to work out. I like to go to the gym, and I love to read.
Do you play basketball still?
No, yeah, if not really. I would, but it's not like I'm not. When Jacob used to play, then he would say, "Come with me, Mom." Actually, he'd want me to rebound, and I was happy to do it. And then I'd be pulled into games, and I loved it. It would probably be good for me if I did, because that kind of movement's so healthy for your body if it doesn't break it. But that's what I like to do. I really love to read. I'll put on a movie every now and then. I love it. I'll watch a series, or I like to be outside, walk, and work out.
What book are you reading now?
I am so in love with this book. I am reading this book. It's called Heart of a Stranger. And it's by Rabbi Angela Buchdahl. And it will take us back to the opening of this conversation, Daphne, because she is a Korean Jewish rabbi who and she is probably one of the leading voices, faith voices in the world right now. And she's incredible. And I've been a fan of hers. And she grew up, her mother is a Buddhist, and her question about, like, am I othered? And her feelings of, and her sharing of that. And then after every chapter, there's a little Torah lesson about whether it's kindness or friendship or generosity. And so every night I snuggle in and I read another chapter and I get a little lesson, and I just feel so good. I mean, it's one of the first books, like, I'm usually like, I can't put this down. I can't, but I do, because I want to treasure it.
Oh my!
And so I'm just loving this book, and I'm sharing it with a bunch of my friends, Jewish and non-Jewish, because the lessons are they're eternal, and they're human lessons, right?
Human lessons, yeah.
And it's not bad. It's also not bad in this day and age for people to learn more about Judaism in a time when we are currently being hated. And targeted and murdered, and these horrific things that are, like, just, I don't even know how to give it words.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I want to go and get that. One of the things I said to myself last night is I want to get deeper. Sometimes you can binge on Netflix, and you can, binge on watching Food Channel, but what really matters in our lives, and I want to be reading more things that really matter, not just about AI and quantum computing, but about the soul, about humans. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's really beautiful. She's really beautiful. It's really, really nice. It's good.
If your leadership style was a basketball move, what would it be? Would it be like, I slam dunk?
Nah, I think it's,
I do full court press. Like, what's your leadership style in a basketball game?
I think it's funny. I think it's a slice to the hoop, right? You see the opening, you just aggressively go for it because you can see it, and that, I think that would be it. So when you're slicing, you might not be as sensitive at some times, right? You're going for it.
Yeah,
I'm going for the win. Not at all costs, because you can slice and dish, and that's okay. But I would say that would be it.
Okay. And you might commit an offensive foul along the way.
No. Body control here. This is about body control.
All right, body control. You slice into the hoop, but you got body control. Okay, great. All right, thank you for that. And then my last question is, do you have like a pre-game song or pre-meeting song that kind of hypes you up or gets you knowing that, I am unstoppable? Like Akeem Olajuwon would say, I'm unbeatable.
I'm unbeatable. It's really funny. They're really just songs that were part of, my life growing up. I remember playing outdoors at a house I was at, and it was a Stevie Winwood song, Show Me a Higher Love. And I loved playing basketball to that, right? Remember that one?
Yes.
Love that. And then recently, I use two songs. One is Walking on Sunshine, which is not, I don't want to be Pollyanna-ish, but it's like, you know what? If we're positive, it's what we teach our girls. If you're positive, the possibilities of the world open up to you. And then finally, I was recently honored, and they wanted a walk-in song, like you asked.
Yes.
So I queried all my girlfriends, And I don't want anything like, Eye of the Tiger, like, rah, rah, rah. And someone said, like, you know what? Go with Golden, right? K-pop Demon Hunters, right? It's a theme song of the number one song in the world.
Yes.
And it was really like up, 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 hello, up, up, up. Everything's up, 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 upshot. I'm thinking this is it, right? We want to show who we are. And I thought that was perfect. So
Yes.
that's my latest.
Okay, that's good. Walking on Sunshine, bring me a higher love. So those are good. Those are all good. Okay, mine is I'm Every Woman.
I like that one.
I listened to it this morning like 4 times when I was on the elliptical because she's unstoppable. She's basically, I can do anything you want from A to Z. I can sense your needs, and so that's what women do. We are everyone. We are more than one thing. We are multiple things, and that's my go-to song.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, Donna, I can't believe it's 5 minutes to 1. There was like 5 more questions that I didn't get to ask you, but I so appreciate your time that you spent today. We're going to go on, and so hang on a second, but we're going to go and talk about what is coming up next month as we get into the happy holidays. After we go through the Christmas and New Year's, I've got Larry Jones, who's an executive or corporate vice president at Microsoft, and he's in the life sciences healthcare business. So, how is healthcare going to be affected by Microsoft? So how are we going to be able to do better with our healthcare? The healthcare system is broken. How is Microsoft going to help fix it? Larry Jones, former Johnson & Johnson executive, a former pal of mine from J&J, he's coming. And then Ray Wang, you all have got to meet Ray Wang. He is the CEO of Constellation Research. He is on Fox News Business. He's on CNBC. He's on MSNBC. He is like amazing guy. He's going to be in February. With that, I thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and share what it is that you are seeing here today. And I'm going to continue to bring in great people and great leaders like my friend Donna. All right. So with that, I pray that everyone has a great holiday. Be at peace. I pray for those that have families that have been wounded or killed. I pray that we can find more peace in the world and peace in the United States as well. With that, I thank you. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, my friend.